Hi, this is Cheryl with Peace and Power Movement Services and wanted to, share a movement exploration related to a common sort of conditioning movement in Tai Chi called Danos. So, these are sort of feet turned out, sort of calm, low squats that are, helpful to build leg strength. And it's pretty common actually that people find that doing this can load on their knees and feel uncomfortable, maybe load their low back, or create a lot of tension around the pelvis, like in the inner groins or on the outside of the hip joints. So, wanted to explore a little bit, a way to go into this movement that hopefully makes it more efficient. It can feel like it almost cancels gravity a little or reduces the weight of the movement. And so I'm going to show the movement in a sort of like physical form and then load in some cues that you can use in terms of your intention, your attention, and the kind of internal imagination that can really change your organization and really take the edge off of how you're loading your knees. So, in watching the video, it may not be super clear the difference between one version and the other, but when you do it, you can often really feel the difference in terms of, um, can you go lower with this kind of internally informed organization? Can you reverse your movement more easily? There isn't sort of more effort to come back up, that you could go up and down at any time. Um, that there's the absence of tightening of muscle groups. And so we're going to walk through this exploration a little bit. And so the basic form of Danyus, so you can sort of start, bring your feet out, you have your toes pointed out so that when you lower your body, that your knees are going in the direction of your toes. And so if you're finding that's not true, change the position of your feet so that is. But, any kind of squat movement, and this is coming from this Tai Chi tradition, is designed, of course, to really strengthen your legs. But we want to do that in a way that doesn't compromise your knees. So if I really just rely, if I think of myself as largely being muscular and I go down, I definitely am feeling the work. I'm loading into the knees, and then I'm having to really work that to come back up. And that's really helpful to put demand on the muscle and build those muscles. Can be difficult on the knee joints and really ankle and hip as well. And so if I imagine that I'm a skeleton and my skeleton is doing, 80, 90% of the work of standing, and then the muscles are just supporting that, rather than think about me dropping in the field of gravity and having to hold myself up, I'm actually going to put my intention to feeling as if the floor is coming up to meet me. And so if I put that intention on and do the same movement, then what I perceive, which may or may not be visible, is that there is an easier movement that happens, letting the floor bend me and then straightening, compared to I'm going to put on the effort and really make this about work for the muscles. Instead, I'm going to let that go, become a skeleton, and let the floor come to meet me. And so, again, whether you can see the difference or not, helpful to explore that intention, but I want to add one detail that makes small changes about how your weight goes up and down. And so I find it helpful to use your hands. So finding your collarbones, the little notch just below your chin and your neck, and to have your hand, sort of a few inches above your pubic bone, a few inches below your belly button, and to just, spend a little bit of time feeling this connection. I come closer, this idea that I can move my pelvis, feel that there's some kind of line here, some kind of center line that has a bit of activation, has a bit of activity. And so as I do that and sort of feel how this, internal, this line can move. And so it does mean that my pelvis then is moving a little bit over my legs with this. If I retain this idea with the floor coming up, then what I notice is that it just feels like my torso weighs less. And in fact, I can drop down even more easily into my legs. And if we check reversibility, I can go up and down at any point with relative ease. So it's not that it's not working the legs, you're still doing the squat, but you've organized yourself to go through the movement with the floor coming up and this coming down. And so again, helpful to check for yourself. Does it feel easier? Does it feel harder? The internal focus might be a lot more work. So helpful to touch on it 3 to 5 times, take a break, do the contrast of making it harder in some sort of way, and then coming back and exploring how does using my mind, my imagination, my intention, and my attention as I go through this movement, can it create a kind of feeling of ease? And ultimately, of course, checking after you practice the next day, how do my knees feel? How do my low back feel? Do I feel tightness around my hip joints and my pelvis? So thanks for tuning in. Have a great movement day.